and welcome to this discussion. We are in the backgrounders and international bilateral issues. I was talking about Pakistan, and I am sure those who have joined subsequently, and it was joined in November. A couple of classes I have taken on India and Pakistan earlier, and it was already uploaded also. I am sure you might have gone through that. Please utilize it, because it is a good information. So, similarly, because in these areas, so these are all part of paper 2. Please remember, an international bilateral issues, that is a part of the paper 2, and lot of questions are being asked there. Okay. So, that is how is that today. In today's discussion, I would like to deal with India and Bangladesh. And these information, whatever I am talking right now, is many of these things are background information, history, a bit of that knowledge will help you in understanding the present day problems. That is how I am discussing this. So, it is very important for you. Unless you know the background, you may not be able to appreciate what is going on. Okay. So, anyway, so now in the first discussion, I would like to talk about Bangladesh, the initial years. Okay, after the formation. Okay. So, as I was mentioning in the Indo-Pak relation, it is an extension of the Indo-Pak problem, because Bangladesh was created. So, welcome back once again. So, I am going to deal with Bangladesh, and in the first discussion, I would like to talk about the the initial years of Bangladesh after its formation, what has happened to Bangladesh. So, Bangladesh and its initial years, that is the discussion. And in fact, you please remember the independence of Bangladesh. See, Bangladesh is part of Pakistan, it is East Pakistan, and in fact, when I was talking about India and Pakistan, I talked about East Pakistan versus West Pakistan, the issues I already talked about. So, this East Pakistan never got its due, even though they were very prosperous, culturally they were very strong, economically they were much better off, and they were in every respect, and in the population wise they were having a better population, but they did not get their due political share. Every time when it comes to power, the power is always held by the West Pakistanis. So, in 1969 when the elections were declared, and this time the East Pakistanis were hell bent, they were very clear in their mind that they should get the majority from East Pakistan itself, so that their own person will be the Prime Minister. And Awami League leader Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was ready. Okay. So, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was ready to form the government, or rather he and as I was mentioning in the 1970 election, when the elections took place, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's party, they got except one out of the 169 seats, okay, 167 out of 169 seats the Awami League managed to get. But even then the power was not handed over to, or rather he was not invited. Awami League leader Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was not invited to form the government by the Pakistan's president at that time, Mr. Yahya Khan. Okay. So, he was not invited. He was not invited to form the government by the Pakistan president at that time. That led to the civil war, and civil war, the date in which the civil war started, that is what, 25th of March 1971, the day the civil war began in East Pakistan, or the Awami League and the Mukti Bahini forces. Hello and welcome back once again. There was a technical problem, there was that internet and the VSAT connection issue, it is beyond our control. So, that is why I had to stop it in between, please adjust. So, I will be starting once again. You are not the only person, many people are asking, am I the only person who is facing the problem? All of us, everybody we are facing the same problem, because the output was not going from our system. Okay. So, anyway, so I hope the issue is resolved right now, and I hope you are able to get it properly. So, in today's discussion, I am once again I am starting fresh, so that many things whatever I talked, it is not going to work right now. So, today I will be talking about India and Bangladesh. India and Bangladesh, and initially many of these things in India and Bangladesh, it is similar to, or it started from Pakistan, and then it is continuing, the East Pakistan thing is continuing. Okay. So, in the first discussion I would like to do is about the Bangladesh and its initial years after its formation. Bangladesh and the initial years of formation. So, as I was discussing in Indo-Pak relations, it is very closely that West Pakistan and East Pakistan issue, and West Pakistan is always dominated, even though East Pakistan they were numerically more stronger, they were culturally more strong, and they had their resources, agricultural land, everything, population wise, culture, everything, they were much more stronger than the West Pakistanis, but West Pakistan always captured power, they always held power. So, this was a big issue in 1969 when the elections were declared, and when the elections were finally held in 1970. In that election, East Pakistan, the Awami League, the main party, the main political party, Awami League, led by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, he captured power, or rather they got a thumping majority in the parliament. See, in fact, the numbers which I am talking about, there is a slight mistake when I was talking yesterday. So, out of the 163 seats in the east, okay, in Indo-Pak relation I said slightly wrong, so please forgive me. So, 160 seats were captured by by Awami League. And in the West Pakistan, Pakistan's People's Party, out of the 98 seats, 70 seats were captured by Pakistan People's Party, that is in 70 out of 98 seats. And out of this 163, or the 3 seats have gone to independents. So, 160, and out of the total around 300 member house, some nominated members and everything in the Pakistan's parliament at that time, this 160 was more than sufficient to have an absolute majority. They had a more than absolute majority in the parliament. Even then, the Pakistani president at that time, Yahya Khan, he did not invite Awami League leader Sheikh Mujibur Rahman to form the government, and this ultimately led to a civil war. And the official date of beginning, we can say 25th of March 1971, the civil war began. And the war of independence, we can say it started in 25th of March 1971, and this led to military crackdown by the West Pakistani military forces. They not only military, even the paramilitary, a paramilitary was created. The loyalists from of Pakistan, the West Pakistan loyalists in the east, a paramilitary was created, and they named it as Razakars. They created a paramilitary called Razakars. Razakars are volunteers. I mean, in Urdu it is called volunteers, and they were created to support the West Pakistan in East Pakistan. So, quick recruitment, whoever is loyal to West Pakistan, they were recruited into the paramilitary force called Razakars, and they were helping the West Pakistani army in controlling this rebellion, this armed rebellion, we can say. And the Awami League created a new independent force, or rather a armed rebellion led, which is called the Mukti Bahini forces. Mukti Bahini forces. They were created Awami League, and to counter that Razakars by Pakistan. So, it was a bloody war, millions of people got killed. That is the estimate says during this freedom struggle for Bangladesh from West Pakistan, that civil war which led to at least 3 million people got killed. It is a huge number, second only to the killing of the Jews in the Second World War. So, that was the kind of killing which has happened in Bangladesh during that time. And this was a very nasty, and because of the brutality involved by the Pakistani forces, the West Pakistani forces and the Razakars, millions of people escaped this brutality from East Pakistan, from Bangladesh, and they entered into India. And almost 10 million refugees by the time, by December 1971, almost 10 million refugees entered, almost 10 million refugees entered India. So, it is a huge number, and India objected. India said this is, and of course, we were giving a tactical support to the East Pakistanis, definitely, because our enemy East Pakistan. So, naturally, we supported the East Pakistani people, no doubt regarding the Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was very close to India, and the Indian Prime Minister at that time, Indira Gandhi. So, we all supported and they even created a what you call a government in exile in India, and many of these Mukti Bahini forces were given training, the arms training and all were given in India, in Tripura, in West Bengal, everywhere we were given, and it was a bloody war. And finally, when things went almost out of control, India threatened, or rather India even warned Pakistan, if they are not controlling the situation, India may have to interfere, because it is a humanitarian crisis, that is what we said. But when India warned Pakistan, Pakistan retaliated by attacking India from Punjab, from the western side of India. So, Pakistan opened the war on 3rd December. 3rd December 1971, the war started. Pakistan only initiated the war, and then the Indian forces entered East Pakistan, that is the Mitra Bahini forces, Mitra Bahini and Mukti Bahini. So, we entered, and the war did not last for long. On 16th of December 1971, Pakistan surrendered, or Pakistani troops surrendered, more than 90,000 prisoners of war. So, all these things, it is part of the Indo-Pak war of 1971. It was a decisive victory for India, and this is how the war ended on 16th of December. And then this war led to the Shimla Agreement, of 1972, in July, the Shimla Agreement, and in this Shimla Agreement, or by this time, Pakistan agreed to recognize Bangladesh as an independent country, and Bangladeshi formation was created, or rather through the Shimla Agreement, Pakistan agreed, or before that they agreed. That is how the Shimla Agreement was there, and we have signed, and we have resolved, India and Pakistan agreed to resolve all their disputes bilaterally and peacefully. And we also said that no third party intervention, and we have also agreed that line of control in Jammu and Kashmir will be sacrosanct, it is inviolable. That is what we agreed, and during this agreement, through this agreement, all the political prisoners were released, and Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and others were released, the Prime Minister elect at that time. So, they were released, and this led to the formation of Bangladesh as an independent country. Bhutan became the first country to recognize Bangladesh as an independent country. Okay. And this is how the war ended. That was in 1971, it was 16th of December, and after independence, now once they got independence, in 1972 itself, Bangladeshi constitution, okay, in 1972 itself, Bangladesh has formulated its constitution, created a strong prime minister in the constitution. They created a provision for strong prime ministership, an independent judiciary, and a unicameral legislature on a modified British model. So, 1972 constitution was a modified British model and a unicameral legislature. And the philosophy of the Bangladesh as a country. See, we know in India's preamble talks about the philosophy of India. The people of India has resolved to create India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. We are very clear. Similarly, the resolve of the Bangladeshi population was 4 basic principles of Bangladesh. 4 basic principles. 4 basic principles that is nationalism, that is the feeling of togetherness, the oneness as a Bangla nationalism. Secularism, please remember, Bangladesh was created as a secular country. Socialism and democracy. So, the 4 basic principles on which Bangladesh was created is, they are nationalism, secularism, socialism and democracy. And in the first parliamentary elections were held in March 1973. Naturally, Awami League had a massive victory in this election, and this country, when it was formed, but it is a war ravaged country. 3 million people got killed, everything was destroyed, and the new government found it extremely difficult to manage things. And immediately, in 1974, the Sheikh Mujibur Rahman proclaimed a state of emergency. Emergency was declared. Within 1 year of the election, emergency was declared by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and he even decided to amend the constitution. Whatever he created in 1972, he himself amended the constitution. And he limited the powers of legislature and the judicial branch, and he created an executive presidency. Now you see, within 1 year, within 2 years of the formation of the government, now an executive president. Limited the powers of the legislature, limited the powers of judiciary, limited the powers of legislature, limited the powers of judiciary, executive president, he became all powerful, and he even declared a one party system, only one party, that is Awami League. He declared a one party system. Just imagine, it started as with a big bang, democracy, socialism, he believed in socialism, no doubt, but secularism, nationalism, everything is fine, but he has completely given up on democracy. The 4 principles which he talked, he himself violated. He said it is a one party system, and he declared himself to be the lifetime president of Bangladesh, and no election, one party, even all the bureaucrats were asked to join the party. So, it was it has gone almost like a Soviet model, full emergency, and a one party system was. So, this he called this as a second revolution. So, he called this 1974 amendment as a second revolution. So, whatever principles on which he is created, he has completely given up on democracy. And naturally, this created a lot of ill will among the people, and especially even among the army, and this led to, in August 1975. In August 1975, this led to an army coup, and he was assassinated by mid-level officers. His wife, 3 sons, 2 daughter-in-laws, almost 20 people got killed in that army coup in August 1975, and only 2 of them, 2 of his daughters escaped. One was Sheikh Hasina and her sister. Both of them escaped because they were not present at that time, and Sheikh Hasina was in West Germany at that time, because her husband, she was a nuclear scientist, and he was working in West Germany at that time. Because of that, Sheikh Hasina was in West Germany. Sheikh Hasina, the present Prime Minister, the daughter of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, she escaped death, and her sister also escaped death. only because she was not present in Bangladesh at that time, because her husband, he is late, he is no more, and he was a nuclear physicist and he was in West Germany at that time. Because of that reason, they escaped. That is how, but so this coup was conducted by mid-level officers, and many subsequent coups in November again, further and another set successive military coups took place. Successive military coups took place again, and after a couple of military coups again and again, the army chief at that time, Ziaur Rahman, the army chief Ziaur Rahman, he captured power. Okay. So, her sister is Rehana Rahman, yeah. So, Rehana and Sheikh Hasina, both of them escaped at that time. Sheikh Hasina is the prominent figure, her sister was not so prominent. Anyway, so Ziaur Rahman captured power by end of 1975, and Ziaur Rahman even conducted an election in 1978, and he became an elected president. Of course, if an army general is conducting an election, you can imagine what kind of election is that, but whatever it is, he conducted an election in 1978 and he easily won the election. But so elections in 1978, in 1981, Ziaur Rahman was also assassinated by the military, or rather the dissidents in the military. So, Zia assassinated, Ziaur Rahman assassinated in 1981, and again confusion. Finally, in 1982, General Ershad captured power. 1982, in a bloodless coup, 1982, General Ershad captured power and he stabilized things. And he started, he was instrumental even starting SARC as an institution, General Ershad, and he gradually stabilized things, and he started what you call, even now General Ershad is a political figure in Bangladesh right now. Even though he captured power, subsequently he started his own party called this Jatiya party. So, anyway, so he started opening up things, even though the strict military rule was going on. He started opening up things. By mid 1990, opposition to this Ershad became very, it has escalated. Opposition to the military rule, opposition to the military rule, okay. Opposition to military rule escalated by mid 1990, and finally Ershad resigned in December 1990. December 1990, Ershad resigned. General Ershad resigned, and this is the beginning of the democratic era, or rather democracy back. So, even though there was a free and fair election in 1973, but that election did not last. I mean, the democratic process did not last for long. Within 1974 itself, emergency was declared and things went wrong. So, there was no proper democracy in Bangladesh after its formation in 1972. Only maybe 1 year, 1.5 years we can say some sort of democracy. 1974 itself it became an emergency, started in 1975, then the army coup took place, and the Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was assassinated, and the entire family got wiped out except Sheikh Hasina and her sister that Rehana. So, that is how, and then it was a continuous military rule. Even though some elections were held in 1970, it was a military controlled and military ruler conducted election. It is meaningless, but finally Ershad resigned because of the popular protest, and this can be termed as the beginning of the democratic era. since 1990. So, this is the initial phase of Bangladesh formation, and during that time, one more point I would like to add here is, during Ziaur Rahman's time, he started a party, the army created party we can say, called, and in 1978 election, it is called BNP, Bangladesh National Party. Bangladesh National Party. This was created by Ziaur Rahman, and after the assassination of Ziaur Rahman in 1981, his wife, that is Ziaur Rahman's wife, she took over, and her name is Begum Khalida Zia. So, Begum Khalida Zia became the chairperson of the Bangladesh National Party subsequently. Begum Khalida Zia is the wife of Ziaur Rahman, and so that is she is the leader of the BNP till recently, and Awami League is the other main party that is led by Sheikh Hasina right now. Please see, Sheikh Hasina is the daughter of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and Ziaur Rahman. See the animosity between Sheikh Hasina. Now, the point we should understand here is, Sheikh Hasina and Begum Khalida Zia, they cannot see eye to eye. They have bitter personal animosity. They are leading two political parties. Why this animosity? The animosity is because the Awami, Sheikh Hasina knows that the killer of her family is, the killers are linked to Ziaur Rahman. Ziaur Rahman ultimately captured power in 1975 itself as a military chief, and the army, even though Ziaur Rahman was not directly involved in the killing of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman and all, she knows that this Bangladeshi army and the leadership at that time was behind, or rather they had the indirect information, indirect knowledge, and she always suspects that Ziaur Rahman was also a party to this crime, even though he was not directly involved. So, that is the reason why Sheikh Hasina and Begum Khalida Zia, they have a personal animosity between each other. That is the biggest problem, or that was the biggest problem of Bangladesh also, because of this personal animosity between two Begums, or one Sheikh Hasina and another the Begum Khalida Zia. So, that is the beginning, or that is how the problem, even today some of the problems of Bangladesh is linked to that particular issue, this Awami League versus BNP, Awami League versus BNP issue, it is mainly because of this this animosity between the two. So, this is the first part of the discussion. Now, I would like to talk about the democratic era. So, the first thing is about the initial years and what has happened. Okay. So, that is the thing.